Aloha Aquascaping world, this is Stephen Chung, and this is a very belated video on Stevescapes. For those new to the channel, it has been a long while since I've uploaded, but my subscribers know that's because I'm usually pouring my free time away from work and family into competitive aquascaping. In my hobby, I prioritize the contests and have a personal goal of reaching the top, which brings us to the results of this year's IAPLC and this video. Unfortunately, I didn't achieve my goal this year, and it is quite a drop from World Rank 2 last year. This is actually the first time for me not to be in the top 27 after 3 consecutive years. But that said, this layout, Silent Pool, in my mind, it is undoubtedly my greatest work, a work I made with the goal of pushing my limits, pushing the limits of what I thought was possible in the contest to aim for the top. And those who look at it can surely see that, at the very least, I did what I wanted. I absolutely did everything I wanted to do and didn't hold anything back. So the purpose of this video will be to give my background thoughts, explain how I got into the scape and what I did to create it. And I'm really looking forward to sharing everything about Silent Pool with you guys. Let's jump right into it. So the inspiration for my aquascape this year was alpine pond environments. Imagine environments that you can find in the Swiss Alps or Germany, and even here in Japan. My jump-off point was the Kami no Koike, the God's Pond in Hokkaido. You can see some really stunning photos here just by searching on Google. But to look for more research material, I expanded into studying European environments as well. Found these really beautiful documentaries on Free Documentary Nature's channel. I highly recommend checking them out. They're absolutely beautiful. The alpine pools are places where snow melt and spring water cause water to form pools and lakes in the forest, often having broken off the normal path of the river. But the cold, clear water allows incredible visibility, but also bathes the whole environment in a distinctly blue color. And this is what I wanted to capture in my work. I wanted to use innovative techniques and a sincere study of nature to recreate an underwater scene, an underwater sense that could not be matched by other progressive dioramascapers or even nature aquarium traditionalists. An ethos much more closely aligned with the biotope style of scaping, though more focused on recreation of image rather than actual literal one-to-one recreation. And this is not a dedicated biotope clearly, but the cold water, clearness, mountain fish like salmon or perch, that environment. What I wanted to get across was the coldness and clarity and sad tones of pale trees refrigerated in that icy blue water. The image of toppled trees creating a place for fish to hide behind. And also pale trunks and branches, glistening reflections in the water surface. Those were the elements I had in my mind when I took pen to tablet and started illustrating in Photoshop. With that as background, I drew this concept art to guide the scaping process. I felt a deep sense of story in the alpine ponds that I wanted to recreate. I still really love this concept art. That's why I basically just recreated it faithfully in scaping. Let's pay attention to the scale, the weight, depth and contrast between heavy and light, near and far, thick and thin, dark and bright. I think that the art succeeded in telling a powerful underwater story and being a platform for showcasing the wildness, coldness, and emotional tone I wanted to impart to the audience. The scale of the place, the energy and texture of pale plants reaching up in clear, still water, and the havens and hideaways for fish amongst huge fallen trees and fine branches in this underwater scene. Now, I did receive a lot of comments after the contest that my scape was a snowscape or like snow underwater. Seems like an impossibility. So folks didn't all get it, but to me, it's more than enough that the coldness of the work reached them. That key word of snow in a scape that's about snow melt. We do our best to express our story in our works, but our intentions don't always perfectly reach the audience, especially in this case. Well, most people don't live underwater. I received many comments from divers and research and biotope fans that immediately understood that this was recreation of a true underwater world, from the color to the drama of underwater logs laying atop each other, to the wildness of plants recreating the image of pond weeds in that, real pond environment. But, I guess As a hobby, we like to say that we value underwater feeling, but people aren't underwater creatures with an understanding of that world. I'm grateful for the comments of appreciation from folks who do have a more intimate connection with the water, but I think, in the future, I will avoid true underwater recreation and stick to terrestrial diorama themes when it comes to IAPLC. Art is for people. And after doing this work at Amano in 2019, where I recreated a Japanese stream to receive World Rank 15, I think it's better for the contest that I stick to stories that speak to the human experience. This year, I tried to focus on emotional tone and sense of wonder in order to make a connection with the audience, wanting to share our aquarists' love for the underwater world. But I think going forward, I'll try to show empathy for my audience by speaking directly to their memories instead. I think this makes sense with how diorama layouts are doing in the contest, and my own terrestrial dioramas being my highest placing works at World Rank 5 and World Rank 2. So for Hardscape materials this year, I think it is an interesting thing to note that 80% of the material for me came from the United States. Manzanita wood on the left, El Jefe stone on the right, both of them collected by Tom Barr in California, and I had sent to me in Japan. Manzanita I've had for a while and have used many times in my aquascapes, including last year. El Jefe stone is something really new and interesting. I think you can see in this right side picture, it has a really unique texture. I love the colors. That's why I felt like I had to have this stone for this layout. I'd actually been thinking about how to use it for a while. Last year, I was thinking of ordering some from Tom, but I didn't have a good image for why I would use it or how it would be important or valuable. But this year, for this layout's theme, which was going to play up blue and put blue at the center of the creative process, to have this stone that naturally comes in pale blue and orange, orange being the opposite color, the partner color of blue. If you put blue and orange next to each other, both of them get more intense. If you mix blue and orange together, both of them get more dull. So these are two colors that work together in order to make really interesting contrasts, but also smooth transitions. Now, knowing that I was going to work with blue, I felt like having this stone from Tom would add one extra layer of depth to my creative process, and it was really interesting to work with. I love the textures, I love the shapes. The only issue I would say I have with it is that most of the shapes are flat. It's kind of a plate rock. It doesn't come in big chunks the way you might expect Monten or Seidu stone to come in. But that's fine because I wasn't going to use such shapes in this year's layout. I needed wood as the main character and layers of stone as platform, as sub-actors. And in that sense, El Jefe's shape is actually perfect for this layout. These two materials from California coming together to make a cold alpine pool, I thought it's really cool to have materials from my own home country. And also for Americans, I've said this in previous videos before when it comes to Manzanita, but I don't want to hear any complaining about availability of materials in the US when it comes to aquascaping, because here I am, this is my third time as the #1 ranked aquascaper from the United States. And I'm in Tokyo, but I'm using materials sent to me from California. If I can do it, you can do it. So just going to briefly touch on the hardscaping process because it's similar to past layouts. I did decide to go with pasting my picture to the front of the aquarium instead of tracing on the glass and matching wood to it as I've done in previous layouts. Going with the Fukada-san technique and trying to use more of my own instincts. Now here's a shot of El Jefe going into the aquarium. Love that texture, love that shape. You can see it's really good at making shells for holding back soil, and it did make a really good platform for positioning wood into the aquascape. And here's what the final aquascape looked like with all the wood and stone put in. You can see there's a shelf in the back, and you can see the drama, the impact of huge and big pieces of wood dynamically weaved together in order to make this composition that frames the viewpoint. I think a lot of people are going to ask me what I did for color, so I'm just going to explain. There is a type of basement sealer called dry lock. It's used very much in aquarium decoration design. So using dry lock as a means of safely coloring material for an aquarium is something I picked up from Aqua Design. Very popular channel for terrarium and aquascaping stuff. Go check him out, I'd say. When I did get the chance to go back to the US, I made sure to buy a huge can from a Home Depot, brought it back to Japan. Sometimes it pays off to be an aquascaper straddling two cultures, two countries. I get to take the best of Japan and the United States and put them together. And in this case, I just took some acrylic paint, mixed it with the dry lock, and had at it. You know, being a painter first and then aquascaper later, it came pretty naturally to me for mixing and matching, and it was really interesting to try working with the natural colors of the El Jefe and seeing how it would combine with artificial colors I could get from using dry lock. And you can see that I've already decided on where I want the blue to appear in the scape to draw the eye immediately to it and make the underwater environment. I think it's worth paying attention to the top portion of this scape in the back two corners, because you can see that I'm already adjusting material in order to figure out how the background is going to work. How I'm going to get the surface reflection that has blacks, that has blues, that has lines, that has white. And what I mean white, I mean the reflection of branches and trees moving up into the water surface. And I'm already composing the water surface in my mind as I put this hardscape together. And that's what you need to be able to do in order to imagine how to bring the image you have in your head into the reality of the aquarium. And here's a picture of the aquarium the day after the initial test fill. So after the filter's been running long enough to get the water clear. And I could see what I was working with and confirm that the calculations I made in my head about the water surface and the color of the stone, how it would come together once water was in the aquarium. I have to say, I was really pleased. When I saw this, at this point, I knew I had a layout that could strike the soul, and I was really, really excited about bringing this in, bringing it to completion. So let me also give a brief commentary on the plants and fish chosen for this aquascape. As you can see, the plant species list is quite extensive. This is pretty emblematic for my style. Even if it's a diorama type scape, or actually because it's a diorama scape, in order to get the wabi-sabi feeling as well as the wild feeling and textures, while keeping the sense of depth, you need a pretty lengthy roster of plants to maintain a sense of size and depth and scale and color and contrast between each other. The main focus plant though is Myaka fluviatus, and I really like this pick. Its pale color perfectly matched the theme and color scheme of the aquascape, and its shape let me use it in a similar style to pondweeds like Hydrilla or Elodia, while its size better matches the scale of the layout, and its color makes it much more easily visible than those types of plants would be. I know because I used Hydrilla in 2019. The aquascape also features Platinum Glosso as a second white plant, in a few highlight spots in the foreground view. Shout out to Wilson Law from Aquatic Farmer in Singapore for providing this little beauty to me. The fish are Danio cathet and leopard danios found by my friends Yoshida-san and Ochi-san. Yoshida-san is one of my students in the Tokyo Aquascaping Salon, ranked 23 this year. Big congrats on an awesome scape. He's a legendary ADA otaku with all sorts of ADA knowledge and collectibles. Follow him on IG at Yoshida6515. Also, Ochi-san is a former ADA suike designer and the owner of Aqua Grass Shop. Great shop. Anyway, Danio cathet, the orange fin Danios, were quite hard to come by, but I really wanted them to complete my image of salmon swimming in this huge alpine pond. I also couldn't decide between the blue bodies and orange fins of Danio cathet and the gold pearly bodies of leopard Danios, so I decided to put in both, and I really loved these fish, both of them. Look forward to seeing some B-roll and cinematic style video with footage of the fish and plants in this tank. I hope you guys do appreciate the video. I'm no pro videographer, but this is an aquascape focused on color, and I think even my footage looked really great. Under the Maxi Light Pro lights by Aqualight. I'm sponsored, by the way, but I think that these are really great lights, reach the plants, brilliant colors. You guys will see the video for yourself. There's going to be a little bit more at the end of this video, but I'm going to make a separate video completely dedicated to cinematic, to showing off as best I can everything that Silent Pool was meant to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed my aquascape, enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I mean, it wasn't the result that I wanted, but we keep doing, we keep going, we keep trying, we keep studying and learning more. I'm really proud of everything that I learned, everything that this aquascape had to teach me. And, you know, I wouldn't have changed a thing. This is the vision that I wanted, and I'm really proud of the work that was put together. I look forward to carrying over what I learned into 2022. More aquascapes next year, more competitions, more friends, more dreams. It doesn't end. So, take it easy. IAPLC, Competitive Aquascaping 2022.